Welcome to all of it. We got all of it.
All of it. All of it.
Our guest is Secretary Madeleine Albright, Bryan Cranston, Tank and the Bangas, Barry Jenkins, Celia Keenan-Bolger, Aaron Lee Carr, Esperanza Spalding, Gideon Glick, Helen Yoyemi, Fab Five Freddy, Benga Akanabe, Brene Brown, Tony Goldwyn, Tandy Newton, Jake Gyllenhaal. Welcome to all of it. Thank you so much for joining us. Hello.
What a pleasure.
Hi.
This is so fun.
I'll see you tomorrow.
We're here every day, 12 to 2. Impromptu concert.
I love it.
I love it.
I was there for the love of it.
You must tell the truth.
I'm sure everyone's perspective is unique.
There's a lot of truth about the pain of being an immigrant, but they're jokes. We find the funny.
It's our strength.
At what point do you think women's health care will stop being a political issue?
When half of Congress can get pregnant.
Ran out of words, but we do what we do. We don't have no boards, so we got to trade twos.
So we trade twos. I was this really dope groove, and Allison was so nice to meet you.
Hi, welcome to our April Get Lit with All of It book club event with Kazuo Ishiguro. I'm Alison Stewart. For our regular book club members, nice to see you. If this is the first time joining us, welcome, welcome. For those of you who don't know, I host the afternoon arts and culture program on New York Public Radio on WNYC, a show called All of It. And we have this fabulous monthly book club where we get together and discuss great books. We listen to great music. Tonight will be a fantastic night. We have Rhiannon Giddens coming up later on in the program. She's got 2 performances for us. And of course, the book of the evening, Clara and the Sun. And because of our partnership with the New York Public Library, 7,330 of you checked out a copy of Clara and the Sun. We're going to continue our evening with Rhiannon Giddens because we were thinking about who to match and how to match. We try to match our authors with our musical guests. We thought, Clara and the Sun thinks about the future. And one of the things that Rhiannon Giddens does is she unearths humanity by looking at our pasts. Her latest album is They're Calling Us Home, Calling Me Home. It was recorded with her partner, Francesco Turrisi, in their adopted home country of Ireland. She joins us now from Ireland. We're going to have a performance first of her song at the Purchaser's Option, and then we'll have a conversation with Rhiannon Giddens after this performance.
Shall I keep him? 'Twill come the day when I'll be weeping. But how can I love him any less? This little babe upon my breast. You can take my body, you can take my bones, you can take my blood, but not my soul. You can take my body, you can take my bones, take my blood, but not my soul. I've got a body dark and strong. I was young, but not for long. You took me to bed, a little girl. Left me in a woman's world. You can take my body, you can take my bones, you can take my blood, but not my soul. You can take my body, you can take my bones, take my blood, but not my soul. fingers bleed to make you rich. You can take my body, you can take my bones, you can take my blood, but not my soul. You can take my body, you can take my bones, take my blood, but not my soul. You can take my body, you can take my bones, you can take my blood, but not my soul. You can take my body, take my bones, you can take my blood, but not my soul.
And Rhiannon Giddens joins us now from Ireland. Rhiannon, nice to see you again.
Hi, nice to see you, as close as we can get anyway.
See you. So that song, At the Purchaser's Option, is from, I think, 2017, one of your 2017 records. And I know you read the book. You read Clara and the Sun, and then chose the pieces that you perform. First of all, what did you think of the book? And then why was this song appropriate?
Oh my God, the book was so amazing. You know, I got a copy of it and I was like, well, let me just kind of check it out. And then it was just like the time flew by and I was just amazed by it. And I was thinking a lot about service and, you know, thinking how she was made to serve someone else and what does that mean? And of course, you know, a lot of my work deals with, you know, American chattel slavery and what does it mean to try to stay humane within that system. And I was just thinking about the ways that Clara was, you know, her, for lack of a better word, humanity would shine through, you know, through her service. It was just really, I don't know, it was really an interesting thought of all of those different kind of definitions of servitude.
And then when you were choosing your piece, when you chose At the Purchaser's Option.
The one I just did. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, you know.
Gotcha.
Was for the first one, and the second one was a different feel.
All right, we'll talk about that when we get there.
Yeah.
You know, we were thinking about Ish's book really points towards the future, and so much of your work thinks about the past and investigates the past. Was that a conscious choice for you, or is that just something that you naturally gravitated towards?
I've kind of always been into history. I've always been interested in not really the generals and the kings and stuff, but you know, the quotidian or whatever, the daily quotidian, the daily aspects. These are the words that I read all the time, but I don't ever know how to pronounce. The sort of daily aspects of like normal people's lives. I've always been really interested in that. And then when I discovered, you know, the banjo having African American origins, then I started really digging into my own, you know, history and the history of America. And, you know, it's like what's past is prologue, right? I mean, it's the more I dug into the past, the more I realized I understood the present and could see, you know, what wasn't surprised by what was happening, you know, in the future. So it was just a really interesting continuum to just continue to just really dig into and to explore through my music.
You know, we were thinking so much about AI and the possibilities of technology and the possibilities of gene editing. And it makes me think sometimes about the possibilities of technology in music. But then with someone like you, where it's your voice and acoustic instruments, when you think about the work you do and technology, has there been any technology that you found to be incredibly useful, or is it not interesting to you?
This microphone, this computer, this Zoom, internet. I mean, every technology is a translation, right? It's translating the sound. Like even the acoustics in a room is you know, through technological means, right, to amplify a sound, even though it's not electric. And I think, you know, we have to have some version of that. And it's just, it keeps on getting more and more fancy and more complicated, but really it's part of who we are as musicians. We're going to be using some form. But I do remember very vividly, going back to like one of those old machines from the 20s. It was part of the American Epic sessions. And it was like, it's not even electric. You can't even plug it in. It's with friction. And you hear this, you're singing into a cone, and you hear it come back on the vinyl. And there's just this, you could understand why people thought that their souls were being taken, when they would hear a recording of themselves. It was this real visceral kind of, the sound was actually reproduced in a manual way, which I think we lose with this kind of, it's all invisible, like the way technology works now. So it's just it's an interesting relationship depending on what the technology is. But no, I mean, I couldn't do what I do without it. So I embrace it, in the way that it works for me.
I just remember I was interviewing, I want to say it was Christian Chenoweth, and she was making a record, and she said, I know it's expensive, it's going to come out of my pocket, but I want live musicians. I don't want to sing to track. Like, she had a very, very strong feeling about that. Can you understand that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the record that we just made, myself and Francesco, was all live. It was all facing each other. It was, I think you have to decide which aspects of the technology are important to have and the ones that are important to leave out. And I know exactly that feeling. It's like, for one song, it was myself, just humming, Francesco on frame drum, and a piper, and we're all in the same room. There's no division, there's no isolation. And so we're using the technology to record, but we're also using the molecules in the room, and we're feeling, it's the combination, I think, of those two things for me that I like to get right. So I totally know exactly what she means.
That album is called They're Calling Me Home. And, this idea of home, it can be a physical space. Home can be a vibe. It can be wherever you feel you belong, whether it's in someone else's mind, you're at home in the afterlife. It can be a metaphor for a lot of different things.
Yeah.
What were you exploring about home in this?
All of those things.
All of those things.
Yeah, it was just kind of like, with any project, it just sort of creeps up on you. And, we're locked down here. We're both separated from, our birth families and the places that we were born in. But of course, we've made a new home here. We've made a new home together. There's all of that. And then, of course, there's death all around, and the idea of that next step and the uncertainty that everybody's feeling. So, yeah, it was just a lot of layers for sure.
There are Americana and American songs. There are Italian songs, Francesca's Italian, on this record. What did you want to explore about the way different cultures think about ideas of home and belonging?
I think what I love about, because a lot of these songs are old folk songs or just very old songs, and there's only one new song on it. And I think what we were both drawn to is some of these old songs really tap into these very humanistic ways of feeling emotion and feeling these big events that are happening, which I think carry across through cultures and nations. And, it's the very thing that makes us human. I think the way that we grieve and the fact that we, feel these things. Now, how we express them is sometimes different, but the actual emotion itself, and I think we recognize that in each other, even if we don't speak the same language, like, Italian or English or whatever, even if we don't speak that kind of verbal language, there's an emotional language that I think these old songs really capture that I found comforting because, regardless if it was in Italian or if it was in English, there's an emotional core to it that I was like, I'm connecting to like generations of people who've like dealt with all this stuff before. It's like, we're not, we're not new. We're not special. We're really, just part of the larger picture. And I actually found that really comforting.
So interesting. I think our theme of the evening seems to be humanity. It keeps coming up a lot, and I don't know if that's just a post 2020 thing, or I'm of the belief that creative people have antenna out and they figure this stuff out before the rest of us. So people like you and Ish know these things and write books and music, and then we all catch up later, the rest of us civilians. For people who don't know your story, super fans will know this, that you were trained as an opera singer. Do you use that? Do you use that training still?
I do. I use it I use it to keep my voice healthy. I use it to access lots of different kinds of genres and breathing. I use my breathing. I use my language training, to learn how to learn something in a different language in a way that you don't maybe cringe when you hear it again. You know what I mean? Make sure that it sounds right and you know what you're saying. And all of that I learned in, conservatory. So I really carry that education with me into everything that I do, so I feel very lucky to have it for sure.
You're incredibly busy. You host a podcast within our family, WQXR's Aria Code. You are the artistic director of Silk Road, the musical organization founded by Yo-Yo Ma. What do you hope to do with this organization? What are some of your goals?
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. It's the most incredible collection of brilliant people I've ever met, and the cross-cultural collaboration, that is the brainchild of Yo-Yo, and how this group came to be, I think is such a special, valuable, and really necessary way to add to the healing aspect of what we need, in America and in the world. The idea that we're more alike than we are different, and we find these points of connection even through the different ways that we express ourselves. Those points of connection are the ways that we realize that we are similar, and I think music does a really beautiful job of that. So, what I want to do is bring the idea of this global sort of mix of nations and cultures and things, which is the world. We've been traveling as humanity since we came out of Africa. Like, we move from one place to another, we are affected. And so to bring that notion into American music, because that's what American music is, is global music mixed with, music that was already here, and this is what we are. And I think that it's a great way, we're going to be looking at some things like the Transcontinental Railroad, looking at these moments in history where cultures are mixing and rubbing, and that edge is where all the beautiful stuff comes out of, and the terrible stuff is when people try to take those edges away from each other. So I think, anyway, I could go on, but I'm very excited about, we've got a lot of things cooking, and just, we're all very eager to actually be in person and make music. That's the number one thing. But yeah, we got plans.
Let's get to the second song you chose. I'm going to let you say the name of it, as well as fill us in on some of the lyrics and why you chose it for this evening surrounding Clara and the Sun.
So it's a song called Omoide. It's by Tsunikichi Suzuki, and it's the theme song to this show called Midnight Diner, which I have been obsessed with. And I've been obsessed with this song, and I heard it, and it just really rang something in me. And I was like, I recognize that. It's actually an Irish tune. Oh, wow. And it's a Japanese singer-songwriter who's unfortunately passed now, but he wrote this Japanese lyrics to this and kind of adapted this Irish tune. And I was like, I love that kind of thing, multiple layers. And then I'm like, okay, here's a girl from North Carolina is going to learn this song. So, and then I got into the lyrics, and I was like, and so I've been obsessed over this song for like weeks. And then this came up, and I read the book, and I like looked at the lyrics again, and I was like, oh, this is so perfect. I mean, obviously there's the Japanese connection, but it's also anyway, I just wanted to read what the lyrics say, just so, because there's no English in the song. So it's, see your pale breath floating over there as it slowly drifts off in the air. See it billow into the clouds in the sky and vanish before your eyes. See the white clouds reaching out their hands in the sky, so far above the land, breathing in the air you breathed out, rolling on, rolling on, rolling on. And do you remember the clouds streaming by above the river? And didn't they look just like this? Or maybe my mind plays tricks. And do you remember the glaring sun and the dog sleeping there underneath the eaves? And all of these memories fade into the sky as they leave. On the other side of the sky, there's another sky there so blue. There's not a single soul or a sound, but there's a rolling cloud. And do you remember? And it continues and it repeats. But I was just like Clara at the end. I was just like, I was giving me goosebumps now. I was just thinking, oh my gosh, there's so, it's just like sometimes when a song is just hovering and it's waiting to be sung, and then it just, so anyway, sorry, I get all excited when that happens.
I love your excitement. So let's let everyone hear the song Omoide Rhiannon Giddens, thank you so much for being part of this evening and putting so much thought into the musical choices and for reading the book. We really appreciate you being here, and we can't wait to see you in person soon.
Thanks for having me be a part. This was a wonderful evening. 君が吐いた白い息が今ゆっくり風に乗って空に浮かぶ雲の中に少しずつ消えてゆく遠く高い空の中で手を伸ばす白い雲君が吐いた息を捨てぽっかりと浮かんでるずっと昔のことのようだね川面の上を雲が流れる照り返す日差しを避けて軒下に眠る犬思い出もあの空の中に少しずつ消えてゆくこの空の向こう側にはもう一つに青い空誰もいない空の中でぽっかりと浮かぶ雲ずっと昔のことのようだね川面の上を雲が流れる君が吐いた白い息が今ゆっくり風に乗って空に浮かぶ雲の中に少しずつ消えてゆく少しずつ消えてゆく
Thanks again to musical guest Rhiannon Giddens, who stayed up past midnight. She was joining us live from Ireland. And of course, thanks to Ish Kazuo Ishiguro for joining us tonight, also from the UK, staying up very late to be part of our book club. We're about to announce our May selection. It's a kind of exciting one. It's a little bit wild, so stay tuned for that. We do have to thank some people. We want to thank some people. Our partners at the New York Public Library, Brian Bannon, Tony Marks, and Andrew Medlar. They are the folks who help get those e-copies into your hands every month. Want to thank the Green Space team, the lovely team that makes this look nice and produces this and gets it out over the internet. Jennifer, Ricardo, David, Emma, Veronica, and Allie. And thanks to the producers of Get Lit who work on it so very hard. Megan Ryan, Jordan Loft, and Simon Close. And now to our May announcement. You may know author Madeline Miller from her acclaimed novel Circe, which came out in 2018. It was a New York Times bestseller. Now, Madeline is again at the top of the bestseller list, but for a book she published almost a decade ago. When Madeline's publisher noticed that sales of her 2012 novel Song of Achilles started spiking around August 9th, they went in to investigate and they found the answer. It was TikTok. On August 8th, a TikTok user named Moon Girl Rees posted a video called Books That Will Make You Sob. Song of Achilles was featured in that video, which now has over 1.1 million likes and has been viewed 5.9 million times. The hashtag Song of Achilles has 19 million views according to the Times. And now the 2012 Orange Prize winner is selling better than ever, spending 26 weeks on the New York Times bestseller list. So we're getting in on the fun. Our May selection is Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, and we think you're going to love it. It's based in Greek mythology. It follows a story between Achilles, the love story, the son of a sea goddess and a king, and Patroclus, an exiled prince. They're brought together by luck, but their relationship is threatened when they are called to war after Helen of Troy has been kidnapped. So much to discuss. So mark your calendars for Monday, May 4th at 7 p.m. That's when we'll have our virtual event with Madeline Miller. We are going to be reading The Song of Achilles. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at allofitwnyc to participate in our book club discussions, and stay tuned for exciting announcements. And if you're on TikTok, follow us there. We have a new account. The username is also at allofitwnyc. Until then, New Yorkers, head to wnyc.org/getlit to find out how to get an e-copy of this here book right there. Until then, happy reading.